Good morning. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, and I'm on NQ again. It is the pre-market. It's about 8:22 Eastern time. And let's get it going here. So, I just hopped on, and what I'm looking for is the same as usual. A nice little breakout somewhere. As you can see, we do have a bit of a trend down. If you look to the left, market was up here at about 11,855. Had this nice little run down, pulled back up to the. Now we are really low. If you look at this, we're at the minus 0.7 deviation. So that means the market's down right now. Okay, then it had a nice little breakdown. This dotted line is what's called a dynamic magnet. Okay, it's a 10-minute dynamic magnet. It's where the market it's attracted to, and as you can see, when it comes down to this magnet, it does chop around it a little bit, right? Then it pulls back down here, hits this wall. So at this point, I'm looking for, either something to run up or to break down below this. So today's going to be a kind of a fast one because I took 2 trades and then I didn't take any more. Market kind of got to where I didn't have any other opportunities, and then I shut it down and I took a beautiful one on YM. Let's see here. So I'm going to fast forward. It's kind of chopping here. There's this simplicity chart. As you can see, it's ugly. If you've been following any of my other videos, any of my trades, I like a nice, pretty trend. If it's looking like this, technically there's an LRE right here at this dynamic magnet. Because you had a simplicity entry here below this wall, came and pulled back up to here. But this is messy for me. I don't like that. I don't like mess. Okay, so I'm waiting. And came back up. Now, we have here these 2 ZOIs up here, a ZOI crash down here. This is kind of forming a bit of a range. Okay, so what I'm looking for is somewhere to come out of there. So now it broke out. It's going long. Okay. Now, if you'll notice, it went long and tried to come out of here. But what did it do? It chopped around here, right? And left all these yellow clusters. That means there's a bit of a fight going on. Okay. So let's see where it goes from here. Okay, it went up. So now as it broke up, since this was kind of a top of a range, it's not really a well-defined range, but it's a top that it couldn't break for a bit. Left some ZOIs, had a fight coming out of there, right? So now that it broke out, if this thing runs up higher, I'd be looking to take an LRE around this area. I wouldn't really necessarily want it to come into this area where these clusters are, because it may get stuck there and chop around again. But if it was around the top here, and with maybe some HD, that'd be pretty nice. But if it keeps chopping around and looks ugly, then definitely not. So it's pulling back. And we're going to wait and see what happens here. I'm measuring out where an LRE would be. Hasn't built up any HD, but, and I got to make sure I have enough for my, 5-point profit before, because I wouldn't want my profit to be up here through this magnet that it just left in this deviation. So now around this point, we're getting some buildup. Still not HD, but we do have these HD apex balls here. And still watching, seeing if we're going to get close and give me that LRE. But like I said, a pullback around this area would be something I'd be interested in. So now I'm waiting, trying to see if we're going to have some HD built up. I would really want some HD. But at this point, I'd be okay without it. So now it's getting close. I went ahead and jumped in. So it gave me an LRE entry. So I'm in the trade. It's still working. I'm building up some HD. So if this builds up some HD, it's got 112. It needs to be at 125% for it to be HD. So now, feeling pretty good about this. It came down, tested these clusters, this top area, and now I'm just waiting for it to come up and hit my target. Okay, it's taking its time, but I do like the fact that it's still building up that HD. Now we have HD. Feeling pretty good. I don't like that it laid this little ZOI here, but I like that we have HD going now. And my 5 points is at the top of that little ZOI. I went ahead and moved to break even because let me mention this. I moved to break even. Usually I like to be 15. If I'm shooting for 20 ticks, I like to be at 15 or more before I move to break even. But I moved to break even on this one because my profit target is right on the ZOI. And it very well could hit the ZOI and bounce back down. But I love that we have 142% HD. And I'm pretty confident in this one still. So now it's oscillating a little bit. And if it would have knocked me out at, even or 1 tick profit, I would have been okay. So see, here it is hesitating a little bit at that ZOI. But we had enough HD. And it's going to push right on up and hit my target. There it is. So that's a 5-point winner right there. There's the simplicity chart, and I didn't quite get the fill I wanted. I really wanted it to be a little lower here, which would have been about 1 point lower. But, LRE, if it's as long as it's within 2 points of the solid line, you're good. Okay. Now, let's move along. It's trending up. Okay. It's going for a little while. Now, as you can see, it built like this little bit of a bottom here, right? So now, as it starts to trend down, you have this defined bottom. I would love for this to give me a simplicity and pull back and give me an LRE back short off of that. So, and we have HD built up. And I actually called this one in the elite room. I got in. Now, Let me show you what happened on this one. I moved my stop to break even too soon. And the reason why I did that is because if you look left, what do we have? That clustered choppy area. Where does my profit have to be? Right in here. Okay? It already came down clean, hit the ZOI where it kind of bounced around at, right? Bounced up, gave me an LRE, has beautiful HD off this bottom to the left. And I should have just let this one go. But because of this clustered area, as soon as it started hesitating, I said, well, let me go ahead and put this to break even because it very well could hesitate and then continue back up because of that area to the all the way to the left over here, and it already bounced from that ZOI. So I moved my stop earlier than I normally would, and what that did was broke me even. When the trade did end up going on and being a winner. It's a beautiful one. I mean, I love this one. I actually like this one better than the first one. So as you can see, it's hesitating quite a bit. And it threw a cluster on my current bar. So at this point right now, I'm like, it's got so much HD, 320%. I really like it, but this thing is struggling. And it's struggling because of those clusters all the way to the left over there. So I went ahead and dropped my stop to even right here. And that's just the way it goes sometimes. I'm a little bit more conservative of a trader. And sometimes that's how it works. So it knocked me out. And then as you can see, it won. So that's okay. That's just how it goes. So from here, I didn't get anything else. We're getting close. As you can see, it's 9:10 in the morning Eastern time. And it's getting close to the dark zone, which is 5 minutes before the open, 5 minutes after the open. And I did not take a trade for the rest of the pre-market. But what I did is I took a, let's see here. All these pop-ups. I took this guy on YM. This is a beautiful short, right? Short run at the open, after the open. Pulled back up here. I had a great market read to take it for a 40 tick profit. Okay. I grabbed that one. And that was great. So I had, this thing. So I had that one, and I mean that was beautiful. I mean, I already got my 5 points, and then I took another 10 on this one. So I actually went over my target, and I'm okay with that. That's how that day went there. So, all right, that's it for today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. See y'all tomorrow.